Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to the continuing adventures of Octowitch, the Octolich wizard slash fire person slash lich slash octopus who kills things slash person slash not a person because it's an octopus. I will stop saying slash after I say slash one more time. Slash. Okay. A couple things before I really get cracking, but some people have commented to me about the sound that's been coming in the videos. I have racked my brains trying to figure out what's going on. I don't actually know. Part of me thinks it might be the refrigerator in my apartment, but I've tried runs with it unplugged, which end up with irritating sounds. I thought maybe it would be the quality of my microphone. That's certainly a possibility. I do have a pretty cheap microphone, but it's not exactly like I can buy a fantastically good one. I got a nice Turtle Beach audio adapter thing, but that also has its problems, namely that you can't turn off the microphone playback. And hearing me talk while I talk is just the most disorienting thing ever. Just give me the bends. So, what I've settled on trying to do is using the front panel instead of the back panel and trying to leave the cord as free as I can. It seems to reduce the hiss a little bit sometimes and not sometimes. So I apologize, but there's not a lot I can do about it. The best consolation I can say is, if you don't turn the sound too high up, it totally becomes white noise after a little while. Though it is irritating. Even I'll say it's irritating. Okay, that's the announcement. It's done. Let's move on. Where last we met, I cleared out Icy Hell. And now it's time to take on the hell that I fear the most, but isn't necessarily the hardest, Fiery Hell. Before I go in, let's just take a quick look around at my abilities and stuff and see what I'm working with here. I don't need to use the Ring of XOFETET Zofetet, the U ring. Blink, Rage, RC, AC plus 6, Dex plus 4. RC is going to be useless in here. I could potentially put on 2 sustainabilities if I so desired. But, I don't know, it's a good enough ring. Gets the job done. I'll tell you what's not necessary anymore. I've clearly managed to limit the number of items I carry so that strength is no longer a problem. So really all this K-ring is giving me is strength plus 3, Dex plus 1, EV plus 2. Dex plus 1, EV plus 2 is not very helpful, so we're ditching that ring. It's no longer a useful ring. It was a useful ring, but now I would much rather have power-enhancing rings. Okay, on we go to Fiery Hell. Every enemy that I fight in Fiery Hell, for the most part, is fire-resistant. Several of them are fire-immune, and the worst, of course, is that. Brimstone fiends that get summoned at point-blank range that are, in fact, fire resist or immune? Immune. And capable of casting Hellfire, so just because I have 3 out of 3 pips of fire resist doesn't mean jack. There is actually no way to acquire Hellfire resistance no matter what, so not much I can do. I am going to make liberal use of digging to avoid places I don't want to be and create alternate paths, because if you'll recall, this is hell. There is no loot to miss. There's very little, you'll notice I ditched all my scrolls before I entered. That's because without conservation, they're just not going to last. Also, the most important scroll in my scroll list is, the most important urgent scroll list in my list is blinking. Everything else in there I can do via wand or some other means. And, let's be real here. When's the last time you've seen me use a blink scroll? If you said never, you're correct. As long as I can hold out for a turn or two with some alternate measure, control blink is a cheaper alternative. Cheaper because it doesn't cost me anything, just mana. And it's a more effective alternative because it even helps through minus C telly, which the scroll of blinking clearly does not. God, I've got to stop coming out of lich form periodically. Anyway, so bottom line, I don't see the reason to bring scrolls. See, there we go. I got lit on fire. If I had scrolls, I would be busy dropping all of them one by one right now. Without that hassle, my triple resist of fire is actually very useful. Okay, here we go. Found a door down. Let's blow up some enemies and then head on. Incidentally, what am I training right now? Transmutations for necromutation sounds about right. I don't have wizardry on anymore, so clearly what I'm doing is working. This Hellion at point blank range, I don't think he'll firestorm me. I mean, there's no guarantee because they tend to... certain enemies tend to be a little bit less concerned about hitting their allies than others. Maybe it's just an artifact of the way they target their spells, maybe it's intentional. Hellions and Balrogs, I think they're called, the ones that look like giant fire beasts with a sword, in particular, will smite target in such a way that it hits their ally all the time. There he is, that guy, the Balrog. He was a Balrog. Good. Okay. Let's see here. But yeah, so I'm basically just making a dive for the bottom of hell at this point and hoping it doesn't take too long. But I'm not about to leave enemies chasing me in droves. Because, again, hell effects. It's quite possible for an enemy to appear in front of me at any time that makes me wish I could turn around. And if I have enemies cracking pistols at my back, well, that's not helpful. Dig just lets me create my own pathway, though. That's very nice. Like, if a bunch of enemies spawned all around my dragon army, I could just dig through the walls and go a different way. There we go. Exit. Awesome. Let's go down. Not exactly the most straight path to have to re-walk, admittedly, but whatever. So yeah, we have thus far fought Ereshkigal in the bottom of Tartarus and Antaeus in the bottom of Cocytus. Good bosses. They do what they have to. Antaeus has like 700 health or so, which is the most in the game. I'm pretty sure, or with that Garyon. One of those two has like the most health in the game. But they have drawbacks. In the case of Antaeus, I don't think he can actually fly. And since he's found on that icy island, he's basically... Sorry, I just got angry. I can't random blink. I have to intentionally blink, otherwise I'll end up in my own fire 50% of the time. So I'm just going to get to the other side of this guy and then blast him to pieces. But he spawned right next to me. I really do hate when they spawn adjacent. That's kind of why I'm supposed to always have some summon chaff up. I said in a previous video, and I do stand by it, you don't need dragons. Hell, scorpions would get the job done. I just like dragons. Because they serve a dual purpose. They can be offensive and defensive, as opposed to scorpions, which can be offensive right up until about the vaults, at which point their offensive kind of gets cut into tenths. But really, this is kind of that artifact, an artifact of something, a principle I mentioned before. You keep building in power, and as you build in power, the lower tier of threats no longer scares you, but the higher tier still does. The thing is, eventually you get to the point that you aren't scared of pandemonium. And when that happens, there isn't really a higher tier of threats. There are individually dangerous circumstances that begin to tax you. But overall, you are more powerful than everything that will challenge you, and that is a great feeling. It's also disorienting. Try playing, just one day when you're doing this, when you have the time, create a nice wizard mode character that's level 27, has everything, and, you know, just get used to it for a little bit. Play it for an hour or two. Then try starting a level 1 human fighter. I guarantee you, you will have the bends, because you're going to be treating, instinctively mind you, you're going to be looking at, oh shit, enemies like Hellions, 3 Hellions in LOS. My instinct is, let's kill them. A low-level character's instinct is, well, there's no point in responding, I'm already dead. Let's see if I have a scroll of fog that I can follow up with immediately teleporting or something. You know, shitting their pants is the correct response. Any ordinary low-level character coming across any one of 100 threats that I deal with regularly would need to be a lot more terrified than I do. So what's really difficult to do is going from playing a character like this to playing, well, Fluttershy, for example. You know, you're used to my lower level runs. Or starting a brand new character after this one dies. Or doesn't die, please don't die. But you know, if this character dies and I started a brand new one, it's very disorienting and it's very difficult to suddenly make that mental switch from being nigh omnipotent to being scared of your own shadow. No, I don't want to get hit. There we go. I hit everything I needed to. What was that here? Yeah. So, the solution to that, I don't actually have one. I mean, I guess just have a methodical beginning that you like to play, or one thing I like to do is to play a Minotaur Berserker, because they really are that omnipotent in the beginning of the game. I mean, they will. A Minotaur Berserker can spend the first 40 minutes of the game and never face a threat that he isn't ready to beat with the right combination of Berserk and positioning. Sometimes, obviously, there are games where you get a D2 Sigmund, well, I guess Sigmund isn't even that bad. There are games where you do meet a deadly threat early. But for the most part, the Minotaur Berserker has got pretty stable early game. I do like that I've talked for not for 30 minutes, how long has it been? Like 10 minutes? I don't know, 10 minutes about nothing to do with this game because it's been so autopilot for the most part. Yeah, the Brimstone Fiends are annoying, but they're not lethal. And that's what I said about Fiery Hell. It is the scariest hell to me because, I don't know, maybe because subconsciously I view fire as so dangerous and so cool. But, the really terrifying things about it, the Hellions and the very resistant to fire enemies you fight. Also, the Brimstone Fiends are the constant summon. In Icy Hell, the constant summon is the Ice Fiend, and let's be honest here, who cares? It's an Ice Fiend. It's not going to do anything to you. Just blow it away in one shot. Without max spell power. Which actually reminds me, I should probably make sure I'm using max spell power against whoever the boss is. I think it's Dispater, but whoever the boss is. Because, again, whoever the boss is going to have a lot of fire resist, and there's no harm cranking my fire damage up to 11 before I take him on. Okay, let's go ahead and make some digs, make some spigs, some dragons, and spigs are dragons. Here we go, final floor. Do I have magic mapping? No. If I did, would it still be here? Absolutely not. Molten gargoyles, how I despise thee. They're fire resistant, I think maybe even fire immune, but they're also not that high HP. So at lower levels of play, they're quite terrifying, but, at this point in the game, they are generally killed by one firestorm. Very rarely will they survive that. Unlike, say, Balrogs, which generally take 2. Want to know another cool factoid which you may not have noticed, but in all the time that I've been channeling via Crystal Ball through this hell trip, I've barely even once had a mischannel. And when I have, it's been something that didn't actually leave a lasting scar, like Confuse. That's just the beauty of Crystal Ball of Energy enchant. Once your evocations is high, it's like drinking a potion of magic constantly without messing with your inventory. See, there was a miscast, and it only led to me not getting mana. And it was followed up by a correct cast. I keep saying miscast, that's technically not the correct term, but I don't think y'all care. Okay, covered in liquid flames because of the actions of hell, but my regeneration is so high that it's not even damaging me. I've died to liquid flames before, mostly because I couldn't cure out of it, but, But in a situation like this, double regen is just brokenly awesome. And to think about it, on an ordinary character, it would have been almost impossible. I would need to have, troll leather armor and another ring of regenerate that happened to also provide some benefit that would make it worthwhile. But because I found all these cool rings in a ziggurat, and because I'm an octopus and can wear multiple rings, I now have double regen, which also gives me RC++ and HP plus 15. That's just awesome. I must say, I don't much care for how hell keeps blasting me with white sparkles. I'm going to dig my way through this wall so that I can avoid the actual fire pit a little bit longer. I mean, clearly they want me to go around this big circle of fire while being shot at by lava snakes, but... I mean, I'm going to re-emerge every now and then to thin out their numbers a little, but I don't need to fight every single one of them. Or do I? No, I don't. Or do I? No, I don't. Anyway. I hunger for blood, and I'm not even a vampire. Mostly, I just want to spill blood, though. Eating it is kind of out of the question. The blue guys are going to get blasted to hell. Oh, wow. That was a cool cast. It looked like a miscast because of how little that... Oh, there we go. First significant miscast. And it's amazing to me how... Until you miscast, it doesn't feel like it matters. And the moment you miscast, good God. Why don't you guys go and let loose for a little while, kill some things for me while I, you know, get myself... Oh my god, a second miscast. And dig my way into this wall. Third miscast, wow. Okay, that's why it feels like nothing happens until it happens, because, good god, that's 3 in a row. Okay. Hey guys, did I miss anything? Oh, that's cute. You think you're people. Notice my health going up by 1 per turn. Iron Shot, by the way, works absolute wonders against Brimstone Fiends. Poison clearly isn't nearly as effective, but... Poison Arrow, but, you know, this is OpPA style, and I never did learn enough Earth Magic to make my Iron Shots hurt. Also, Poison Arrow has the benefit of missing a hell of a lot less. And when it does, the range is good enough that you probably get a second shot. Okay, I have been most of the way around this fire bowl, and I still haven't seen the inside, so, the way inside. Have I ever actually seen the bank? I have. Okay, good. So maybe there was a way there and I just didn't pay attention. Yeah, there was a way in. Okay, good. Let's move towards the inner sanctum. This is one of those situations where having flight would have been nice. Because this gap is a little bit small to blink over. So really what I should be doing is making sure I have enough of an army that if I need to retreat to safety, I can retreat behind my army instead of actually retreating anywhere else. And anything I can resurrect, make a permanent ally out of, of course, happy to do. Where is the molten gargoyle that's stopping me from auto-traveling? I think that might be one of the biggest irritations that hell causes, is you can't auto-travel, much like in the Abyss, because... Not because you actually can't auto-travel, I mean, you can technically, but because you have to constantly stop and deal with whatever new thing has been thrown at you. Okay, here we go. We are now entering the inner sanctum. Obviously, it's a little bit of a thick inner sanctum, and ow. Not sure what that was, but it hurt. Probably the hog that now lies dead. I'm gonna put on dodging. If they try to throw bolts at me, it should be really hard for them to hit. Okay, if they spawn on top of me, however, well, then they have a lot of options now, don't they? There we go. Now you're all dead. How's that for options? Okay, I didn't mean to take 2 steps there, but whatever. Ow. Okay, there we go. And again, the joy of regeneration. Normally, I would be like thinking about whether or not to burn heals immediately or where I could hide to regenerate. But because of double regenerate, I actually don't even stop to regen. I'm going to keep walking rather than suffer more hell effects. And I'm going to be at reasonable health the next time I'm up against a real attack. Let's see now. 200 health. Which incidentally is more than a deep elf's maximum health. You know, when you max both fighting and level. Though I am actually at the point where I have pretty much maxed health as well, so I should stop thumbing my nose. Especially when you consider that a good part of this health is that ring of vitality. Ow. Okay, something is there shooting at my fire. Fine. Y'all idiots want to stop me from walking 10 steps? Trust me, I can be here all day. Okay, that hurts. Brings me back down to 200. Man, this is good health for a fucking Minotaur. Well, no, Minotaur is not good, it's acceptable. Okay. I walk into Asmodeus' area and take 4 steps dancing around rather than actually attacking because I didn't realize it was him. Let's just blow him up now, shall we? When he shows his face, I'm going to be out of mana because of a crystal ball miscast at the wrong time. So, back up, the dragon's tank for a bit, and continue doing my deal. Oh, good God! Oh no, not again! Goddamn crystal ball fails at all the wrong times. Okay, there we go. What is this? Never mind. I miscasted Summon Dragon, so presumably it caused a spatial vortex. Okay, contamination is worn off. I now have my army of dragons back up. And more importantly, I've managed to get my mana back to an appreciable level. Let's move on. That Asmodeus fellow, is he still around? His summons certainly are. And he's behind them, and oh my god, I regenerate faster than he does. So I can get hurt and hurt him back, and I'll win the race in getting health back. Assuming I can get away. Which I guess isn't given. I'm gonna shoot poison arrow at him. Try to finish him with that. And he dies OpPA style. OpPA style. Alright, anywho. Ah, god damn it. I'll just hide here in the corner and get my mana back. Take the Scepter of Asmodeus with me and find the Fire Rune. Teleport for the exact same reasons I've discussed before. There is probably a loot chamber in that blackness, but I mean, come on, do I really need loot? Nah. Out we go, and that leaves not the scariest hell, but certainly the hardest. The one where most creatures are immune to everything that isn't pure physical damage. And therefore, you know, you need like the 40% physical of anything that you're using to actually affect them. The Iron City of Dis. We'll do this later, where we will fight the Dis Pater, or the Father of Dis. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time.